They don't want what we know out there.
How a person can go from really almost nothing to becoming a millionaire by owning rental properties.
He would always buy these flip houses, and I just remember thinking, this guy is crazy. Why would he buy that house?
In the past decade, there's been a huge surge in the peer-to-peer short-term rental market.
Become an insider. So you have to know the rules before you get in the game.
Every second counts. So make every second count.
Welcome to the Real Estate Jam. Whether you're just beginning or the best of the best, we're glad you're here. We will share successes, failures, and strategies for the action-taking real estate investor. And now to your hosts, JD and Melissa.
Hi guys, welcome to the Real Estate Jam podcast. I'm JD with my lovely and talented co-host.
Hey JD, how are you?
Melissa, I'm doing good. I am pretty excited about this show. Like we were talking about before, we don't have a lot of people that are really executing this niche well. So I'm really excited to introduce you guys to Brock Holliman. Brock owns and found Brock One Holliman Capital Group, My New Rental, and he has a build to rent strategy that I think is really interesting. And Brock, we're super excited. Thank you for making time for us. I know you're a busy man, so.
Well, thank you all for having me on. It's great to be on with a couple other Floridians that get to experience this real estate market. Even if y'all are in the Panhandle and I'm in the bottom, we feel connected. So that's good.
That's right. Well, it is a huge state, but there is good things in real estate, good things in the way we pay our taxes and everything else that makes Florida a great spot. So if anybody out there wants to move down here, let's talk to Melissa and get you a new house.
Yeah, join the bandwagon.
Brock, well, first, I know some of our listeners are probably going to know who you are and seeing your social media and stuff. But for those that don't, can you give us like a rundown of, how you got started, where you're at now, and then we'll kind of take the conversation from there.
Yeah, quick little elevator pitch. So it all started when I was in high school, actually. So not a licensed realtor at the time, but the world was in crumbles. So it was all foreclosures at the time. There was no new construction. There was not much real estate activity at all going on. Well, I guess there was on the investment side as the funds were scooping up everything they could buy. But it started at the foreclosure auctions in Memphis, Tennessee. And then, just one foot in front of the other. So just the slow, but the process that worked. So it went from wholesaling properties and foreclosures that I would get there and selling them within 24 to 48 hours for a couple $1,000 little fee, to then being able to buy and then rehab and then flip them for a profit, to then being able to buy and then hold and then keep as a rental. And then slowly, next thing you know, like 2014, 2015, market starts to pick back up as far as pricing. Because at the time before that, when I started, like you could not build a product and sell it for a profit. You were going to be in for, more than what the value was at the time. So there was no building going on. And it made it difficult because I grew up in a construction household. My father was a builder, and that's all I remember as a kid, being on the job sites, riding in his truck, scooping concrete, whatever. It was all fun. And that's turned me into who I am today. And that's definitely why I'm in this field today. But yeah, now fast forward, that was back in 2010, 2011. Now, and then we were in 14, 15 is when I first started to learn how to build. And now we're in 2024. And yeah, we've got this great wheel of 3 different companies down here that really all work hand in hand. And it's turned me into a good business owner, I feel like, and a good operator. And I try every day to be a better leader. But all these work great. And at the beginning, it was for my own investments. So like I wanted to keep as many as I could. So the construction company would build them and then we'd sell as little as we could to keep as much as we could. Right. And then just self-manage them. So at the time, basically just one company because I was structured not proper.
Sure.
Then, you learn, you live and you learn. So then, split up the investment company with the construction company. So the construction company is its own entity. And I kept having all the investors that we were selling to, they were having great success and they loved the product. Because if you look us up, if you go to mynewrental.com, you'll see what we build, and it's not your typical rental property. I mean, these things look very sexy. They look very modern and sleek. They look like something that you would definitely see on a retail market, and not so much the rental side. So you couple all that together, and it makes a nice recipe for, not just the investor, but for the tenants too, which makes the tenants happier. They're going to pay more money. They're going to stay longer. They're going to take care of the property better. So it really, doing all that with doing what we say we're going to do on the construction side, which no contractors, they're very hard to find that they actually say we'll be done in 2 weeks, and they're done in 13 days instead of 2 months.
Right.
That's all. It's like the classic 2 more weeks. But we do what we say we're going to do. So a lot of our business, most of it is like repeat business. It's like the cheapest marketing that we can get. And everybody was like, "Oh, wow, y'all are doing such a great job on construction. Will you please manage the properties?" Because they were frustrated with the managers that we were hooking them up with.
Yeah.
And I take responsibility a little bit, but not every manager is going to manage it just like their own investment.
Right.
And mine, I don't see like there's no dent in the middle or anything. Your property is the same as my property. We're invested in the same exact areas, same models, same finishes, same everything. So it's not like I'm going to have an advantage on my properties versus your property if you're an investor with us. So anyways, we had a lot of investors asking us, manage our property. And I kept telling them no for a couple of years. And then finally, we had built a base up of ours that made sense enough to where, okay, we've already got people hired in positions that are taking care of our stuff that we self-manage. Let's open this up to some other investors. And that's gone very well too. So that's My New Rental. So My New Rental works hand in hand with Brock Holliman, the construction company, and weekly meetings on construction, like the management team sitting in on that. So if we get to a drywall stage, we're already starting to pre-market and pre-list these properties so we can, have a tenant lined up by the time we get a CO. So I think it helps everything.
So really what you did is you took your original company, you split it up, and then like vertically integrated the different pieces. Is that the right way, or would you describe it that way?
Yeah, it definitely it didn't all start off like that from the beginning, for sure. Yeah. It wouldn't have made too much sense because there's quite a bit of payroll that goes along with just the management company itself that, my own investments wouldn't have been able to pay for at the time. Now mine well exceed what that overhead is. And then you couple that in with, the other management fees that we collect off of the owners that are with us. It helps that become a profitable business too.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, Brock. So one of the things that I'm super interested in is the build to rent model that you have. Can you kind of explain that to us A to Z, and then I know that I'm going to have questions on it because I think it's an awesome strategy.
It is a great strategy. It's definitely build to rent's definitely become a little bit more difficult the last 2-3 years as rates have gone up and affordability becomes a more broad issue as people's pockets are hurting. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, the news might tell you something different, but the reality is people are not in the best position financially, but it still works. So the biggest thing that I'm looking for when we're going to go do a build to rent in a new area is I want to look and make sure that the demographics are great. We've got jobs in the area. We've got population growth. And the people have the money to pay too. And there's just it's pretty simple to find these areas in Florida. I mean, we have an easier time than a lot of other places. So you can kind of blindly pick, but at the same time we don't. We put a lot of energy and thought into it before I sink any money in. So we make sure that those boxes are checked first. Then we have to be able to do it at sort of a scale or volume. So it makes it more difficult with a smaller guy like myself competing against bigger people like a DR Horton or somebody that can go write a $20 million check to a developer and let them sit there for a year while they develop it and they're out the money and they can't. if I did that, I'm shut down and we're laying people off, and it'll be like, hey, y'all come back when this neighborhood's ready to build.
Yeah.
But so we can't do that. So we have to find these. We have to make sure that the demographics are great, but also we have to do this in infill areas.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily in Florida, there's a lot of different areas that were developed that were boom towns back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And then lots were sold off to investors, whether they were being taken over by plane and they were just picking it from the air. And just all that kind of stuff. And these areas have been dormant for forever until, the early 2000s. But there was so much inventory and land that the game can go on for a while. Luckily, I wouldn't have messed with those back then. Now the traffic's built up heavy enough in a lot of these areas that we're in, or every area that we're in, to confidently make me feel comfortable, to go out and spend money and invest and keep these things for a long-term investment, which I'm so thrilled with. That's my most addicting side of the business, is being able to keep them. So all the other ones, they just drive that addiction. So we have to be able to do the volume, and we have to be able to find infill lots and basically be able to reload as our money comes in. We have to be able to spend it on other lots that come in, and it can't be 100 of them, 300 of them at a time.
Yeah.
So all those boxes get checked, and then we got to make sure that that the rental income is going to exceed the monthly payment, which that's been the most difficult part the last few years, where the interest rates where they're at. But we don't touch anything that doesn't cash flow. If it doesn't cash flow, it's a big no. And that's what those are the main drivers, and what A to Z, us picking the area, and I guess basically qualifying an area. And I could go on for, I know we don't have that much time, but I could go on for hours and hours on the whole process, from buying the land, how we buy the land, and all of our systems on construction, the permitting, everything that we do. But that in a nutshell. If I missed anything that you want to answer to, please ask.
Yeah, well, I am curious. So are you going out there direct to seller, or are you finding agents? How are you picking? I think it's important, because you said you're not going out and buying 100 lots, or 300 lots. You're going out and buying how many, and how are you finding those specific? Obviously, it's in the area you're looking for, but then what directs you to that specific lot or area?
Yeah. So once we've got our area picked, we're not going to just pick on one avenue of acquisition and stick to it. Mm-hmm. We broadly, pick up these lots or these properties. So the longer that you're in an area, and the more transactions that start to hit the record, people actually start to reach out directly to me, which is wonderful. It makes it easy. But without that, if we only relied on that, then our volume would be cut and our production wouldn't be as efficient, and we wouldn't be near as profitable. So we pick them up off the MLS. My New Rental, the property management company, is a brokerage. So, if we pick them up, if somebody on my team picks them up, then we direct that commission to them as an incentive to bring us lots. Everybody on our team knows the criteria. So whether it's our acquisition people, or whether it's our project manager, or whether it's our office staff, if they see a lot that they know meets our criteria, everybody's bonus driven. So they're dying to send that our way so we can acquire the property. So that's one area. Another big thing that we found an incredible success with is text campaigns. Mm-hmm. So direct texting, and again, the licensed real estate tools can go a long ways with this. So set some filter parameters on. In Florida, as y'all know, we've got IMAP. So we can go on IMAP and basically filter 15 different items, and it's going to give us a perfect list of sellers that will then plug into a spreadsheet, and then get their numbers input, put into our CRM, and then just start blasting out text. Yeah, that is the most successful route that we've got, and literally like buy on demand type of stuff. So So that's how we acquire them.
I guess my next question is, you guys are probably, or I assume you have your build cost drilled in, you're building a certain type of property, it looks a certain way. So how are you determining what you can afford to pay for those lots? Or do you have a set criteria like, well, if the value of the home after we build it is $250,000 or $300,000, then that means that we can pay X percent of that for land costs? How does that work?
I wish it were that easy. And I found that out the hard way, that it didn't work that way down here, because Orlando is where we started. And, I guess looking back, I could have guessed this, but didn't really think it'd be that big of a difference. So Orlando, we started slow. We figured our numbers out, the build cost, because I started building up in Memphis, Tennessee, which is totally different. You're building with stick frame versus concrete block. I mean, these are like mini skyscrapers, the way they're constructed with all the concrete and rebar. So, figuring all this kind of stuff out was step one. And you figured it out in Orlando. I had all the budget numbers, and numbers has always been my favorite thing, topic, subject, whatever. So I thought very confident, thought I knew what I was doing. We underwrite models down in South Florida before we start there. And then I pre-sold a small, thank God it was a small batch, because it was way undervalued, to some investors, just to get some traction going in a new area. And come to find out, you deal with significant labor shortages, material shortages, even if it's only a few hours down the road. Because Orlando's booming, but it's super populated. Tampa's booming, it's super populated. And even though we're an hour away from Tampa, you're still dealing with a different set of suppliers because it's booming so hard in Tampa. Yeah. So now you're dealing with this area that had been crushed in the past. Okay. So you have a lot of material shops and all this kind of stuff that maybe closed shop in 2008, and they were reluctant. Oh, is it another 2008, type of boom? And so far, it doesn't look anything like it. Hopefully I'm not, eating my tongue on that. I don't think I am at all. I think the numbers are just totally different nowadays. There's not enough inventory. Back then it was too much.
Right.
But with all that in place, materials right down the road here, just to get them, even if we're spending $5 million a year from the concrete supplier in Orlando, if that same company is open down here, when we first started, they were not even dealing with us because they were so busy. They would not even sell us a yard of concrete. And we're like, guys, we're buying the shit out of it up there. I'm sorry, buying the heck of it up there. And, why won't y'all sell to us? So it was just very difficult. So it was more like a bidding war on all kinds of materials, and the same exact thing with the labor. Because, naturally you've got the hardest working construction workers are going to be immigrants.
Yeah.
It's harder to find them in Southwest Florida as easy it is in Orlando, Tampa, Miami, or these other heavily populated areas where everybody's naturally drawn to when they're moving to the state. So those things really made it difficult, and I know I'm veering way off of here because you said percentage of value, lot cost, but yeah, I did have a rule of thumb like that before all this started happening.
Yeah.
But down here, like, we're paying $20,000 for a lot, where in Orlando we're paying 60, but the houses down here are worth more. But it's really because, a lot of the areas here are growing so fast, they don't all have in public water and sewer yet. It's in their 10-year plan. So you're having to bring the house up a lot. And in Florida, you got to have the bottom of the septic tank be 1 foot above the water line underneath the ground. So it allows you, or it requires you to bring in a lot more fill sand in to raise these houses up. And back to that material and labor thing. I mean, my fill sand up in Orlando, $260 a load of fill, and down here, $420. And there's nothing different. There's no diamonds in this fill sand. There's no gold in it. It's just those things that we were just talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and it was unforeseeable.
So essentially, whatever area you're going into, you're running the full cost sheet before you start purchasing lots. And then you figure out what it's going to cost you, what the profit that you need to make is, and then whatever's left over is the land cost.
Yes. Yeah. In a nutshell, pretty much. But we do it we're heavily templated. Yeah. So like right here, I'm in Northport today, and we've got probably 40 to 50 projects going on in Northport right now. And 95% of those are the same exact floor plan and same model. 100% of those have the same exact finishes. And it's not that we're trying to make it look cookie cutter. They're very spread out.
Sure.
But they're also, these finishes are very well thought out. They're very appealing for the eyes, and they're very they feel good on your pocket too, because they're not expensive, but they look very nice, you know?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now maybe we can dive into, do you guys do anything different with your build to rent style than you would for build for consumer or something like that? Are you, reinforcing the bathtub tile and that kind of stuff, or you're just building it and choosing to rent it so the numbers have to work on the front end?
Yeah, well, no, we're not doing a damn thing different. Okay. And if you compare our rental product to, because we've got offices in these areas that are right next to, or model home offices, right next to these national builders that all they do is retail.
Right.
Unless an investor walks in and they want to buy direct from them. But if you line their product up, their retail product up with our rental product, ours is so much better. And it's not me just saying that because I'm, I picked the finishes and then because I'm the builder or whatever you want to call me. It's just the truth. It's the reality. But I do these things because I want to design. These are investments, and I'm a younger guy. I'm going to be around here for a while, hopefully. And I want the product to be around for a while too, and stay in style. Like I remember being a kid and my dad was building the tumbleweed walls, and then the green countertops were hot. And like you go into a house with green countertops now, not many high percentage of people are going to be like, oh my God, I love them.
Love that avocado.
Yeah. But I mean, these neutral colors that we put in, they're grays, but they're also sort of beige. Like they go along with everything. White cabinets are in a gray island, and white countertops, quartz, very durable quartz. You want that stuff in your rental property.
Yeah.
Our cabinets are all solid wood. We don't put the particle board stuff in. All of our flooring is 100% tile. No stick frame housing. It's all concrete block. If we're near the coast, we don't mess with, the cheaper windows that aren't impact glass.
Right.
We don't want to have to worry our 1,000 tenants going to put on hurricane shutters if we've got a Hurricane Ian rolling our way again.
Yeah.
We of course we're going to send out our alerts and keep everybody updated and bring your patio furniture inside or this stuff, but you can't trust everybody's going to put on shutters. So we want to make it bulletproof.
And when Melissa used to have some properties over there, it was in Naples, where you would have to pay $1,000 to have some service come out and put the hurricane shutters on every time there was a hurricane scare. That doesn't work when you're at scale. The other thing that I think is important to mention now, of course, you are the builder, and so people might think, well, yeah, even though he said he's not just saying that, but the reason I think we can appreciate that is these other national level builders, they're not banking on holding this property for 10 years. So they don't give a crap if you got to replace the carpet after one tenant. They don't care about all that kind of stuff. When you're building your own build for rent or building it based off of your style for other investors, you're looking to have minimum repairs for the next 10 years, minimal turnover costs, and to do that, you have to build at a higher quality. It just doesn't make sense for you to, like there's the cheap wall paint, the cheap flooring, the stuff that is used and touched all the time in a rental property. It doesn't make sense to skimp on that stuff, especially.
No, I really appreciate you saying that, because we spend a lot of effort and a lot of energy on and a lot of extra money. I mean, we as good as our houses look and as well as their price for investors and our incentives that we offer for everybody, we would still sell the same. But at the end of the day, if we have an investor back out, I am maybe in a certain situation, if 100 of them back out at the same time, maybe I'd be a little nervous. Okay.
Right.
But if we have any investor that decides they change their mind along the process, I am super comfortable keeping that for myself, because there's no difference. And I could easily say, okay, I'm going to keep these for myself. Don't put them on an inventory sheet. And then the ones that we do put on an inventory sheet, skimp out, put the carpet in, put the cheap stuff in, the particle cat. It'll look pretty similar, but at the end of the day, I know that my product is going to be better than the one I'm selling to. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I want real estate is such a long-term investment, and people that think they're going to get rich quick are the ones that get out quick and they don't ever come back. But the people that can hold on and add more time to the equation and do it the right way are going to be very successful, very profitable over a long period of time. And that's what I want to be here for and known for, to help our people with. So
yeah. And I'm not sure if you said this before we started recording or not, but you're looking for repeat clients too, not just a one and done kind of deal.
Big time. And that's our number one, lead source is investors that have already bought from us, just because they're so happy with the experience that we provide them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Brock, I really appreciate you sharing that stuff with us, but I think that some of our listeners probably getting value out of it too. So if we wanted to send them to find out more about what you're doing or connect with what you guys are doing over there at the Holliman Group or mynewrental.com, where should we direct people?
Yeah, if you want to just see, what good looking rental property looks like that we're building, go to mynewrental.com, mynewrental.com, and you can just see, check out the available properties we've got and check out the, the inventory and the models that we've got, and just look at our videos of the models and just check it out. I mean, really, I spend more time. I guarantee there's no way anybody in build to rent spends more time and energy that I do as far as designing the plan for efficiency, for attractiveness, and designing the finishes, and all while trying to preserve, unit turnover costs and all that kind of stuff. So mynewrental.com, you can check out what we do and see what we do. And then please, reach out to me. Like you said, I'm trying my best to get active, but we've got a lot of work to do on social media. Sure. We've been doing a lot of content. I've been focusing a lot of time and energy over on that. So please, any of your listeners, follow me. Instagram is where I am the most, but we're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Bigger Pockets, YouTube, all that stuff. But Instagram's where I'm on the most, and at follow.brock is my tagline on there. So at follow.brock.
Okay, and we'll make sure to get that put into the show notes so that everybody has that, Brock. We really appreciate your time, man.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. I swear to God. And look, y'all, if y'all ever want on for like a part 2, because like I said, I could go on for hours. And you need someone to fill in real fast, just let me know. I'll be there.
Oh, okay? Thank you.
Awesome.
We do have that problem
all the time. We had 2 people cancel on us today.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Let me know, and I'll come back. Okay. If y'all want me.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Jam. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, check out our website, therealestatejam.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Real Estate Jam. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email at therealestatejam@gmail.com. See you next episode.